Let's preview tonight's Spurs-Suns game, and let's also talk with the fan base.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
This is Emily Swallow, and you are listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs. We're here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's 5 San Antonio. Glad to have you back. Hope you're having a great work week. And I know you're still riding high off that come-from-behind win from your San Antonio Spurs. But we thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Free and available wherever you get podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes. You guys are the everydayers. And we're here for you every single day covering the silver and black. What are we talking about today? Well, you and I, we're going to quickly preview tonight's Spurs-Suns game. Yeah, still riding high over that big win out in their gym. What do the Spurs need to do? What are some key stats, some key numbers you should be looking out for, and more right here on Locked On Spurs. And then to wrap up the show, we're going to have a fan episode. It's been a while. We're going to have a fan discuss the start of the season. What are fans talking about? As well as Wembanyama. What are fans thinking about the start of Victor's NBA career out in San Antonio? So, about those Suns and the Spurs, huh? What a game that was a couple of nights ago. Spurs just out of nowhere just erased a 20-point lead to get one on the Suns in their gym in dramatic fashion, with Keldon ripping the ball out of Kevin Durant's hands, going up for a contested layup. Bucket, game over, Spurs win. So let's preview tonight's game, the rematch. Hopefully Phoenix doesn't come out all upset and tries to put one on San Antonio. But the Spurs are 2-2 heading into tonight's contest. The Phoenix Suns are 2-2 as well. This is the end of a 3-game road trip for your San Antonio Spurs. They'll be back home. And also, this is the last time the Spurs and Suns are going to meet in this back-to-back set. I think they play one more time in San Antonio. As mentioned, the Spurs are coming off that thrilling come-from-behind 20-point deficit erase versus those Suns. What is it about the Spurs and Suns? What are the Spurs getting on the Suns? They always have to give them heartache and their fan base. But they got a narrow 115-114 win in Phoenix. Wemby, he had 18 points, 8 rebounds. Devin Vassell finished with 18 points. Keldon Johnson was the man for the Spurs, 27 points off 10 of 20 shooting. To lead the team, Zach Collins had 14 points, 5 rebounds. Trey Jones had 10 points on the night. Otherwise, it was pretty much the Devin Vassell and the Keldon Johnson show late in the game. The Spurs went on three runs in the fourth quarter. They went on an 8-0 run, a 7-0 run, a 6-0 run in the fourth to get back that, just to dig themselves out of that deficit and get the win. Keldon Johnson, afterwards, he spoke about the win, saying that, they recognize they laid an egg versus the Clippers, but he said they took it like a man. They took it on the chin. They just moved forward, and they just kept playing. He says, quote, everybody loses, everybody gets blown out. We took that, and we learned from it. Hopefully the Spurs don't do that again. Look, I love the fact they won, and they had a comeback, but let's not do that again, Spurs. If you're going to beat this Phoenix Suns, you beat them handily. In case you're wondering, the Spurs will be in their association jerseys tonight. Those are the white ones. And let's look into some key stats to keep an eye on tonight's game. Now, the Spurs, though, good thing for them. With the win in Phoenix a couple days ago, they snapped a 9-game losing skid to the Suns. So kudos to the Spurs. Interesting little stat here. Whenever the Spurs have more offensive rebounds than their opponent in this very early season, they're 2-0. So keep your eye on those boards. If they're getting those second chance opportunities and they win that battle, likely the Spurs are going to walk away with the W. Now, the Spurs have a knack so far through the first 4 games of being behind the scoreboard heading into the final frame. In every single game, the Spurs have trailed after the third, and they're 2-2. So keep your eye on the third quarter score tonight out in Phoenix. And finally, the Spurs, let's just say you would think with Victor Wembanyama and Zach Collins that they do a better job on the boards. Now, they've been out-rebounded in the last 2 games. So keep your eye on the boards. The boards might be key for the Spurs tonight versus Phoenix. And there's your quick Spurs-Suns preview for tonight's game. When we get back, actually, coming up next, we're going to go ahead and bring in our fan. Let's go ahead and bring in our fan. He's going to talk to us about what the fans are thinking about the start of the season, what they're thinking about the start of Victor Wembanyama's regular season career with San Antonio right here on Locked On Spurs. But first, I want to talk to you about PrizePicks. It's the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. They are the easiest, most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports, and you got to get it right now. Look, it's just you versus the numbers. That's it. Instead of battling thousands of players and pros and those sharks, it's just you. That's it. You pick more or less than on 2 to 6 players, stat projections, and then you start watching the winnings roll in. So with the basketball season here, it's here, Spurs season's here, you can now pick combo projections across basketball, football, from the Specials League. Now, that's a league created specifically for combo projections that include 2 or more players from different sports or leagues. So, for example, you want to get Victor Wembanyama and Travis Kelce at a 10.5 combo, 3 points made and plus receptions. You can do that with daily fantasy sports via PrizePicks. So PrizePicks even offers reboot policies. Or what is that? So basically, let's just say one of your players gets injured. So with football or basketball game, and they don't return for the second half. That player is then rebooted, and PrizePicks is the only daily fantasy sports program with injury insurance policy. So another reason why you should get PrizePicks right now. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay. They got a wide selection of players, stat types. They got it all at PrizePicks. So you want to go to PrizePicks right now. I go there every single day. You should too. You want to go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA. Use code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Repeat. I'm going to repeat that for you one more time. PrizePicks.com/LockedOnNBA. Code LockedOnNBA gets you that first deposit match up to $100. Look, you got to go to PrizePicks. Why? It's daily fantasy sports made easy.
Hey everybody, this is Nathan Ray Clark from Criminal Minds and Modern Family, and you are listening to Locked On Spurs, hosted by Victor Wembanyama's new best friend, Jeff Garcia.
And we're back right here on Locked On Spurs. Start the fan episode of this episode, and who is joining me today? The guy who puts all that Spurs clothing on all Spurs fans' backs. He is Mike Baez of Bear Apparel, rocking his Bear Apparel right now. What you got on right now, Mike?
San Antonio made, baby. San Antonio made.
He's going to be talking about his little endeavor in getting Spurs fans all hyped for games with some nice outfits and cool T-shirts and maybe a sneak peek of what's to come. Well, I don't know. Maybe Mike will let us in on what he has cooking for you Spurs fans. Make sure to follow him on X at Bear Apparel. Do it right now. And welcome, Mike Baez. I believe this is your first time on Locked On Spurs, correct?
Yes, you're breaking my virgin cherry on this one.
Well, it's very easy to do. So we're going to ask you a couple questions. You're going to go ahead and talk about your opinion, and then what are you seeing from the fan base collectively on a couple of topics. And the first topic we're going to start is with the start of the season. So, 4 games in. Look, I get it, Mike. It's just, 4 games, a small sample size. There's not really much to learn from. But what are Spurs fans saying about the start of the Silver and Black season?
Well, it's mainly the topic of discussion has been the experiment that's basically taken over the Twitter Spaces, Spurs Twitter, and I get it. Jeremy can play the position, but is he a natural point guard, right? Yeah. So that's the big debate. People are already tired of seeing it. Some people want to see more of it. I'm right in the middle because, I see what Pop's doing, and I understand that. But it's like, how many of these games where Trey leads and assists to Wemby? How many more of these games does he need to see of it to make that change? But a statement of saying he usually takes it in about like a 20-game increment to see if the project works out. So
yeah, it's interesting to see that experiment and how it will progress. as the season goes in. I personally think that it'll change. I think eventually the numbers are just going to dictate that the Spurs play better with Jones. You saw it in the game versus Houston. You look at statistically, Wemby makes more of his shots when Trey is on the court. And the players say that Trey is a calming force. Look, I'm not knocking Jeremy. I'm not knocking it. Look, even Trey Jones told me that he understands that Jeremy is starting just to learn the spot. But why not put somebody in who knows the spot, who was groomed for this since his Duke days till now? I think it just makes sense. I agree. I see what Pop is doing. A big lineup up there, that length, that size, that defense. I get all that, but you got to still score points. Well, I don't hate it, but I just think number wise and game flow wise, perhaps that would shift soon, which means that maybe Jeremy off the bench. What do you think about that?
Or Keldon? Or both?
We don't know.
I've seen some comments with suggesting both of them come off the bench and basically let Trey start and let Steady start.
I mean, look, the thing about the Spurs roster is it's very versatile. They can definitely bring in different mixes out there, and I wouldn't be surprised if that does happen as the season moves on. I think Pop is still going to stick with this lineup he has right now, barring any type of. I mean, Sohan, he's doing okay. He would really have to bottom out. Just bottom out. Like turn the ball over, not getting the offense going, something like that, for Pop to be forced to and reinsert Trey as starting point guard. Another thing that I'm noticing about Spurs fans, what's on their lips to the start of the season, is whether this team is going to be good or not. There's the Dallas game where they were hanging in there with Dallas and they came apart, and then plus obviously Luka Doncic had a lot to do with that. Then there's Houston. They hang in tight with Houston. They win in overtime. And then they get clubbed over the head versus the Clippers, but then they rebound with that come from behind win versus Phoenix. How are Spurs fans dealing with this roller coaster to start the season?
Well, I think it's mainly due to, Victor not really seeing the ball enough, but I think that contributes to a lot of missed opportunities. Like I was ecstatic about yesterday's pullout win. If you watch the first half of the previous game, it didn't look like they had that in them. But knowing the Spurs, man, you pound the rock, like Wemby said, pound the rock. And sure enough, man, kudos to KJ too, man. Everybody's been crapping on him. Hey, I'm just as guilty too. But credit to KJ, because KJ had a big impact, especially in the third and the fourth, helping these guys come back into the game. And then, you bring Wemby in, and he hits big-time shots.
Oh, yeah.
He's a big-time player. I strongly believe he's ready for those moments. I just would like to see, and everybody else on Twitter, too, would like to see Victor play more minutes.
Yeah.
He averaged 36.
We'll definitely get into that in a few minutes. But overall, I think to me, it's just still too early to tell exactly what's the identity. We don't know yet. We don't know the identity. I think it'll trend towards defense. I think that's where it'll come, just based on the starting unit and Wemby and his ability to really impact on that end of the court. But offensively, I think it's going to take time. Are Spurs fans being patient right now with the team, or what are you seeing? Do you think Spurs fans are already, twiddling their thumbs and going, all right, Spurs, what are we doing? Are you seeing some impatience from the fan base?
It's a 50-50 split.
Yeah.
Some want to win now, and I get it. And some are with the patience and let's see what we have. And I get that too. Another thing that I'm in the middle of, or that I'm on the fence with, because I want to win now too, but I also understand that we still got a young team and we're still trying to see what we got around Victor. So I get it, but it's a 50-50 split.
Yeah. Yeah. Almost like the Spurs record. Currently they're 50-50. They're 2-2. But you look at those two wins and again, deficits, climbing out of holes, getting in nail biting fights, look, that's progress. I mean, last year the Spurs were just getting smoked left and right. I mean, bad. So there's progress right there. They're staying in contention. They're staying in competition. But Mike, we saw the exact same thing play out to start last year. Remember last year, this team is going to be competitive. They're so competitive. Look, they beat the Bucks. They beat the Bucks in their gym. And,
started out hot too.
Yeah, then the wheels came off, and then you had a 22-win season. Look, now I don't think that'll happen again this season, but Vegas is projecting 29 wins. Are you buying or selling that?
I mean, I was a huge proponent of taking the over on that. Like, I was one of the ones saying, "Hey, I could see a 40-win team on the floor, right?" But I mean, if they could get their stuff together, then I could. Then that would be a reality. 40-win team, play in, possibly even in the playoffs, maybe. But I mean, if they can't get together collectively and all believe in one thing, they're not going to go very far. So with everything that's going on, it makes me question, and just me, it's like, are we still in the tank mode? Because I don't want any part of that anymore.
Yeah. One season of a tank was more than enough, and Spurs fans can't handle. But I say give it time, let them cook, let them marinate, let them get that chemistry down. Defense seems to be trending fast to a positive thing.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's still sputtering a bit. You're seeing I think the Spurs had like 12 turnovers in the half against the Clippers. I mean, it was just so bad. They, the offense is sputtering now with Jeremy sometimes, running the point. So I think that side of the court will eventually get going. But all in all, I think you still feel it's good vibes among the fan base so far after 4 games.
Like I said, I think it's 50-50. I mean, it's like people are impatient, and you got the other fans that are, patient. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I get both sides. It's like the Ferris Bueller of Spurs Twitter. It's like I see both sides, and I understand both sides. But I want to win too.
Yeah, exactly. I think all Spurs fans don't want to go through another 22-win season. Not like Vegas is saying the Spurs are going to be gangbusters or 29 wins. I think Vegas is wrong, but Vegas, the house.
Kind of makes you think though.
Somehow Vegas knows all, and they're saying just 29 wins for your Spurs. Coming up next, we're going to continue our chat with Mike on this fan episode of Locked On Spurs and ask him what are fans saying about Victor's start to his career, and what does Mike think about Victor's start to Wemby's career right here on Locked On Spurs.
This is Zach Aguilar, the voice of Tanjiro Kamado, and you're listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
Hey, thanks for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. You guys are the everydayers. Tomorrow's episode, guess what? More Wemby, probably. Yay! No, tomorrow's episode will probably talk Wemby, but also guess who's coming back? The doctor himself, Ryan McCorkle, will be on tomorrow to wrap up your week right here on Locked On Spurs to talk all things medical side of things about your silver and black. But we have to also talk about FanDuel. Yes, you want to go to FanDuel right now. Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get themselves a $150 in bonus bet by winning $5 money line bet. That easy. That's $150, $50 if your team wins. Yeah, like you need any more reason to go to FanDuel right now. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, now's the time to do it. You want to get on the action right now. NBA season started. NFL is underway. Who knows if the MLB season will continue? We'll check that out. But nevertheless, it's a good time to jump into FanDuel right now. All sports are going on right now. The app is super easy to use. Wide range of betting options available from spreads, player props, and so much more. You want to go to FanDuel.com/lockedon right now. I go there daily. I check out those futures. I check out what are the money lines. I check out all that good stuff. All that good stuff over at FanDuel.com. So once again, FanDuel.com/lockedon right now. Kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL. Also want to talk to you about Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee. You want to go to Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee right now if you're in San Antonio, 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive, located in the 281-1604 area. They got a wide variety of drinks. They have dairy alternatives. They have the Red Bull Infused Lightning Bolt series. Part of that series is the Alien. Yeah, you know what that's about. It's Wemby. It's a full can of Red Bull, kiwi, green apple all mixed together. They have the OG OJ. That is the old school Orange Julius, recreated only at Musslingers. They have the Sub-Zero. That's in honor of Frank Harris, UTSA's very own Frank Harris. They have it all. They got mini donuts. They have a friendly staff. They're a proud local sponsor of Locked On Spurs, and they proudly serve the San Antonio community. Go there right now, San Antonio. Over 300 5-star reviews cannot be wrong. I love picking myself a cup of coffee there. And speaking of that cup of coffee, it's called the Mudslinger. Trust me, get that. That'll give you a really good introduction to the coffee world that is Mudslinger's drive-through coffee. And they're very fan interactive. They will chat with you on X, on Threads, on Facebook, on TikTok, pick a platform. They are everywhere. And they're always listening for new ideas. So if you have a drink that you're thinking about in your head, pitch it to them. They make it come true. And if you want to follow them on social media at Muslinger SATX. Once again, 2404 Oaks Drive. They're open every day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Go there right now, San Antonio. Life is too short for bland coffee. Let's go and bring in our guest back. He is Mike Baez, representing the fan base right here on Locked On Spurs. He is on X at Bear Apparel. We are talking about your silver and black. And we are doing that right here on this fan episode of Locked On Spurs, and we're going to wrap it up right now. So Wemby, he's been playing good. I mean, he's not horrible, but it's not that generational vibe that we're feeling yet. To start his NBA regular season, Mike, what are the fans saying? What are they commenting about how Wemby's been playing?
It's mainly how the rest of the team tends to look him off, especially when he's open.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Another thing, too, that we talk a lot about is the touches or the lack thereof. You know, that's, again, the floor vision of the guys seeing him. Yeah. The lanes are open. He's up waving his hands like, hey, you know what I mean? And how can you miss a 7'4" alien? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
That's basically what it is. That, and then, of course, the point guard situation. But with Victor, we want to see him with more touches. Me personally, I would like to see him with at least 20 touches a game. Seriously, like if he's the guy, if he's going to be the face of the franchise, I mean, wouldn't you agree that offense does need to run through him? Yeah. You know what I mean? Instead of him.
Yeah, we discussed that on Locked On Spurs last episode with Vinny Vincetta at Ken's 5. That was one of the points I brought up is just feed him the ball. I don't care if he misses 2-3 in a row. Just keep giving it to him. He's gonna catch fire eventually and keep going. And I think that's what they're not doing right now. I almost, that first game against Dallas, I thought the strategy was get everybody else going and then Victor will get going. I thought that was the card they're going to play with because you saw Zach Collins and Keldon and Devin get going in that first. I said, okay, no problem. Let those guys get warmed up and then Wemby will be Wemby. And it didn't happen that way. The foul trouble got him. Mike.
Sticky tag fouls, man.
Yeah, those sticky tag fouls. Yeah, Mike, are Spurs fans also showing patience with Wemby? Because remember, he's this hyped up player that's supposed to be impact day one, 20 points a game and 7 blocks and 15 rebounds. So far, that has not happened. What are Spurs fans saying about that?
I mean, we understand that Victor needs to see the ball more in order for us to get a good size of what Victor can do. I mean, we can see what he does in the fourth quarter. Clearly, he's made for it. I know a few of us bark about, when Victor gets going in the game, Pop takes him right out. And it's like, well, how's he supposed to gain any kind of confidence, go to rhythm? You know what I mean? It's just it's another reason why people are like, are we tanking? I mean, I would just leave him in and let him build that rhythm. Yeah. But we all know that he needs that ball more.
Yeah, you're right. He definitely needs that ball more. What about you? Let's just say if you could look into the Mike Baez crystal ball and look at the All-Star break, where do you think he will be? What would your projection be? You think he's already being the Wemby that everybody's thinking about, or you think he's still going to be needing time to cook?
I mean, he's cooking right now, but in order to get to where he's the master chef, he's like the king of the kitchen, he's working there. He's getting there. You could tell he's still adjusting or getting adjusted to the league, the speed, the physicality. He's already settling in. More games, more experience, more touches, and then by then I think he should, if he gets the ball, if he sees the ball more, and I think he will be able to be. I won't say an all-star, but right on the cusp, because all of France is going to vote for Victor, or pretty much all of Europe. I mean, shoot, we even got a K-pop group in South Korea rocking Wemby jerseys on stage. You know what I mean? So he's already worldwide known. So it wouldn't surprise me if he's actually an all-star his rookie year.
Yeah. I think that potential could happen with the fan vote, but we'll see. He still needs looks like he still needs a little bit more time in the oven before he comes out ready to rock and roll. You're seeing it earlier. Teams are pushing him out. They're really being physical with them. Covington, now with the Sixers, now he got traded back to the Sixers. When he was playing with the Clippers, he said that. Well, he was asked, well, how did you deal with Wemby? He said, I just threw my body on him. I got physical with him. That seemed to slow him down. So, Victor will get adjusted to that. He has a big target on his back. He's all hype. He's all this and that. So, yeah. I mean, you can't tell me, Mike, if you're on the playground right now and you're hearing some guy being told in your face, like, oh, you're no way you're going to stop this guy. You're going to stop. You're not going to get your juices going, and you're going to want to, get some a little bit of a little time on him on the defensive end.
Hey, that's where he flexed on Chet. He was like,
"Oh
what?
yeah." Although I think there's a little bit of beef between those two guys.
Yeah, I believe so too.
You can see it.
I believe so too.
Overall, what do you think the fans would grade the start of the season and Wemby's play so far?
I think the consensus, as far as like an average, as far as fans goes, from what I've seen, it's probably going to be around a C.
Okay.
Fair. You know what I mean? Not great. It's not bad, but it's fair because we can all see that there is improvement that's needed. A couple positions. There's things that need to be adjusted. And once that's taken care of, I believe we'll see a different team. Especially with a team within a rhythm. There is no rhythm, there's no flow, there's no rhythm right now. So.
Yeah, absolutely. He is Mike Baez of Bear Apparel. Bear, what do we got going at your store? You create a lot of fan clothes or fan merchandise. Very popular. Your designs are really cool. You made me a custom one recently, and I cannot wait to open it. Haven't got it in my hands yet, but you told me it's on the way. So what's going on with Bear Apparel?
Just grinding out designs. Like I do a lot of game day designs just because I'm a diehard fan. I do a lot of graphics for the teams. I make believe that I'm a part of the Spurs. You know what I mean? But it's just stuff that I like doing. I like taking ideas from the fans, from the supporters about what they want to see. Try to bring up cook up some images in the kitchen, like with Jimenez's t-shirts from the guys, stuff like that. You know what I mean? But working on a couple of Devin shirts. I'm gonna work on a Jeremy shirt. I already got some Victor shirts out there, but it's gonna be more coming because I'm kind of short on Devin, kind of short on Keldon, and kind of short on Jeremy. So that's what's coming next.
All right. And how can fans check out your work and maybe pick up a few things?
Absolutely. You can find us on pretty much every social platform. We're on Instagram at Bear County Social. We're on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, at Bear Apparel. We're even also on Snapchat, even though I'm hardly on it. But we're on Snapchat, Bear Apparel. Come check us out. Check out the store. We've got free shippings on anything. We've got the code scrolling on top of the webpage. But yeah, come check it out. Buy from the store. Support local. I also want to give a shout out to Josh. with especially, I want to give a shout out to Poodle Network. All those guys over there. I want to give a shout out to Alamo City Broadcast. All those guys over there. All Poodle, baby. All nothing but love for those guys.
Absolutely. He is Mike Baez, repping the fan base right here on this fan episode of Locked On Spurs. And we thank you for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Free and available wherever you get podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes. The list goes on and on. I'm Baez. And make sure to follow us everywhere. Well, first of all, we're on Sirius now. We're Sirius XM NBA Radio now is carrying all of the Locked On NBA shows. So make sure to check that out ASAP. And you can find us on Google Play, Stitcher, iTunes, Kins 5. The list goes on and on. So for Mike Baez, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock in this episode of Locked On Spurs.